Good morning, and we're here to talk about lettuce today. We've had some questions on our Patreon page about lettuce that is bitter. And the question is, how do you grow beautiful lettuce without it tasting bitter? There's three things you need to know to be able to grow beautiful sweet lettuce. First of all is you need the right variety for the right time of year. So if you're growing lettuce in the summertime, when it's hot, you need varieties that are bred for hot weather. If you're growing lettuce in the winter time, then you need the varieties that are bred for cool weather. Now, most varieties of lettuce are cool weather crops anyway, so there's only a handful of varieties that you can grow in the summertime that are bred for hot weather. And you just have to look at the seed catalogs and read the descriptions to figure that out. Now, the second thing is the age of the plant. If you have lettuce that's been growing for a long time, it's going to go bitter on you. So you can't grow those great big giant massive heads of lettuce and then you think that it's going to be sweet and wonderful. Now I have some lettuce here that's getting old. This has been cut 3 or 4 times. I'm going to cut one and we're just going to see how it tastes real quick. So here I've got my hook-bladed knife. I love a hook-bladed knife for this kind of work. And here's a lettuce that's been cut several times, and we're going to just cut it and we're going to look at this. You can see the leaves that are dying down here, and they've been cut off. I cut that one right there a long time ago. So all these little ones have been cut. And as you come up here, here's the next set. This leaf is still green, but you can see it's been cut right there. And so that was cut off. And so that was 2 harvests for sure that this has had. And that's probably from the second harvest there. There's another one from the second harvest. And then this plant didn't look very good. I think it was dirty, so I didn't cut it the last time I came in, and I got the third cut. And if it would have, then the top would look straight like that, because most of this got cut just last week. So that was the third cut. So I'm just going to taste this just like a grazing sheep. Yes, there's some bitterness to it. The bitterness is usually worse the longer it gets. It's not too bad. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 5. We could still eat this lettuce and it would be okay. But I'm going to cut it down here and we're going to look at this. Now, I can see the whiteness of this. There's white sap coming out here. And if I just rub my finger on that, it's white on my finger. When you cut lettuce and you see the whiteness coming out of the leaves, there's a 95% chance it's going to be bitter and it's not going to taste very good. So when you're cutting your lettuce, if you see that whiteness, your lettuce is too old. That is an age-related problem. You need to be cutting those varieties and harvesting them and eating them before they get to the age where they do this. Now, interesting thing about timing. If you cut lettuce in the winter time, sometimes I can get 4 or 5. There was one year I got 8 cuts off of lettuce and it was still really good. In the summertime, a lot of times you'll only get 1 cut, and then the second time, if you let it grow back and you try to get that second cut in, it will have all that white sap and it will be bitter. So in the summer you can plan on 1, maybe 2 cuts. In the winter time, maybe 3 to 5 cuts is more appropriate. Now let's look at a larger head of lettuce. Okay, here's a bigger, larger head of lettuce. This one has never been cut. And if you came to my greenhouse, I would pick some like this and send them home with you. This is kind of what we harvest here. So let me just go down about 3 inches. That's 3 inches at the top of that leaf, and I'm looking at it where I cut it off, and the sap in there is clear. There's no whiteness in it. So this is probably going to taste good. That is very sweet, very yummy, very good. So right now in the month of March, it's still cool weather. So we're growing these larger loose leaf heads, and they are very excellent, good quality at this stage. And it's about 12 inches long. So these are big, beautiful, wonderful loose leaf heads. and they are not bitter at all. So let's review the right variety for the right time of year and how old the plant is. This plant looks old because it's big, but it's younger than the other one I just showed you. The other thing that would make lettuce bitter is if the lettuce dried out. If your soil dries out between waterings, then it can go bitter. So always keep your soil moist. The soil should be moist all the time. Now if the top of the soil dries a little bit, you're probably okay as long as it's moist way down in the soil where the roots are. But lettuce roots don't go deep. Lettuce roots are not going to go 10 feet deep like an alfalfa plant. So you need to be watering your garden several times throughout the week so that they can be getting the moisture they need. So let's review. The right variety for the time of year, the age of the lettuce, and keeping your soil moist all the time. Those are the three keys to having beautiful, wonderful lettuce. Now if you're going to grow lettuce in the summertime, I would never even try to get any variety of lettuce to be this big, unless it was an iceberg called summertime. I have grown that one and it does well. But I've never tried to grow all of the varieties that have been bred for hot weather, so there might be some really good ones out there, and I simply don't know about them because I haven't worried about that. Okay, I just cut this lettuce. These are the same varieties that I was growing to be big, but this is how I would harvest them if it was in the summer. In the summertime, I cut them. This is maximum size, and it's not quite covering my entire hand there. It's a little bit smaller than my hand. That would be a maximum size. A more appropriate size would be just a little bit smaller. But if you cut all of your lettuce so that it was like that, just a baby lettuce, you would probably never have bitter lettuce. As long as you kept it watered, then you had a variety that can grow in the summertime. And so you would just grow a mesclun mix of some type that's for warm weather, and you would have a variety of beautiful different types of lettuce that were growing and never go bitter. Keep it watered good, have a variety for warm weather, and pick it when it's young, and you should never have bitter lettuce. Hopefully this has taken some of the complicated things about gardening and made them simple for you. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon so that we can continue to bring you the very best knowledge of how to grow gardens if there's no more fertilizer for sale. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon so that we can bring you the very best knowledge in gardening when the apocalypse hits.